Emperor Vespasian of Rome chose a site for the Flavian Amphitheater, better known as the Colosseum, in an area just outside the city center, close to the ruins of the Great Fire of 64 AD. Construction started in 78 and was completed in 80 AD by his son Titus when the amphitheater was inaugurated. It was the largest structure ever built in Rome. In this video, we'll look at the construction and inauguration of the Colosseum. This is a reconstruction of what Rome looked like in the 1st century AD. The site where the Colosseum would be built was an area full of artificial lakes, gardens, and artificial lakes. The land had been devastated by the Great Fire of Rome in 60, following which Nero seized much of the area to add to his personal domain. He built his opulent pleasure palace, the Domus Aurea, directly on the spot where the Colosseum would later be built. Part of the complex featured an artificial lake surrounded by pavilions, gardens, and porticos. The existing Aqua Claudia aqueduct was extended to supply water to the area, and the gigantic bronze Colossus of Nero was set up nearby at the entrance to the Domus Aurea. After Nero's death, the Domus Aurea was largely torn down. The lake was filled in and the land reused as the location for the new Flavian Amphitheater. Nearby, the Romans built gladiatorial schools and other support buildings necessary for the amphitheater, such as barracks for the gladiators and stables for the horses. These structures were built within the former grounds of the Domus, which had been appropriated by Nero for his own pleasure. By building a Colosseum on this site, Vespasian was, in effect, giving the people back an area of the city which Nero had selfishly taken for his own use. Construction of the amphitheater was funded by the opulent spoils taken from the Jewish temple after the First Jewish-Roman War in 78. During the siege of Jerusalem, according to a reconstructed inscription found on the site, the Emperor Vespasian ordered this new amphitheater to be erected from his general's share of the booty. Whether slaves and prisoners of war were brought back to Rome to work on the construction is unknown. But it is likely that teams of professional Roman builders, engineers, artists, painters, and decorators undertook the more specialized tasks necessary for building such an enormous and complex structure. Along with this free source of unskilled labor, it is likely that teams of professional Roman builders, engineers, artists, painters, and decorators undertook the more specialized tasks necessary for building the Colosseum. The Colosseum was constructed with several different materials: wood, limestone, tough tiles, cement, and mortar. Construction began in 70 to 72 AD and was completed sometime between 73 and 75 AD, up to the 3rd story. By the time of Vespasian's death in 79, the top level was finished by his son, Titus, in 80, and the inaugural games were held in 80 or 81 AD to commemorate the event. Commemorative coinage was issued showing the Colosseum and the words, "The people, the Emperor Titus." According to Dio Cassius, over 9,000 wild animals were killed during the inaugural games of the amphitheater. The building was remodeled further by Vespasian's younger son, the newly designated emperor. He constructed the Hypogeum, a series of tunnels used to house animals and slaves, and added a gallery to the top of the Colosseum to increase its seating capacity. In 217, the Colosseum was badly damaged by a major fire, which destroyed the wooden upper levels of the amphitheater's interior. It was not fully repaired until about 240. Further repairs were carried out in 250 or 252 and again in 320. By this point, the structure had suffered considerable damage, but the external walls were still intact. Honorius banned the practice of gladiator fights in 399 and again in 404, and gladiatorial fights are last mentioned around 435. An inscription records the restoration of various parts of the Colosseum under Theodosius II and Valentinian III, who reigned from 425 to 455, possibly to repair damage caused by a major earthquake in 4. More work followed in 484 and 508. Despite being in a state of disrepair, the arena continued to be used for contests well into the 6th century. Animal hunts continued until at least 523, when Anicius Maximus celebrated his consulship with some These events were criticized by King Theodoric the Great for their high cost. By the Middle Ages, the Colosseum was a ruin. Thank you for watching. Please like and share.